James.
Jess.
James from James and Jess's Half Hour.
Jess from James and Jess's Half Hour.
How are you?
Well, great. And how are you?
Every week. I'm great, Jess.
I'm just feeling fantastic.
Good.
I had a good week. And
I
it's
had
Friday, and that's why I'm even more excited.
Oh my
it's
gosh.
It's the weekend, and
Yeah.
there's so much on, and it's a week until your 30th birthday.
It's true.
30, the big 30. Oh, halfway to 60. Oh,
That's
Grammy's
like
on the way.
the 24th though. My party, everyone's like, oh, the 22nd. I'm like, no,
No,
my
it's the
actual
24th.
birthday is the 24th.
I said
but-
the 23rd yesterday, but it's the 24th.
Yeah, a lot of people are going, wished me for my, like, your birthday's on the 20th of May as well. I'm like, no, it's not, but thank you anyway.
Yeah, so, I forgot we have toast. We'll go get some toast in a
Okay,
minute.
it's all right there, just
Yeah.
chilling. But yes,
So
I had
tell me
1
about
week.
this week. Yeah, you
Yes.
had the week off.
I had the week off, 1 week of annual leave. I thought it was time.
Done.
I kept-
You full-timer, you get all those little penalties.
Well, thanks, James.
Luxury, sorry. Penalties.
Wow, penalties. It's like a death sentence. No,
Yeah.
it was quite good. All I did was sleep. There's
Sleep?
2 types of holidays, yeah?
The sleeping holiday?
The sleeping holidays or the holidays where you see this, that and everything and don't relax.
Sleeping Beauty.
And normally I
Get
save
your
up,
body sleep.
yeah. I save all my annual leave to go overseas, which is something I can't do. So I just sat there on my bed.
Surely you're going to go away soon, yeah?
No, I'm not going. I'm not going at all. Like even this annual leave, people are like, what about the Gold Coast and stuff like that? No, because if they call lockdown, I can't be bothered moving my ass to the airport quickly.
I can just imagine you being like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, I'll just sit on the beach and be like, you pay me, job. You pay me.
So you had a very nice beauty sleep the whole week.
I did. I literally slept, like even today, which is something I don't do. I slept until 11.
Do you feel all ready for your
I am.
party?
I do.
Yeah, that's good.
It's all coming together.
Yeah. So my week was just very busy working. And
How
then
far is work
after,
from here?
40-minute walk.
Not bad.
And then, or when I'm lazy, it's a 12-minute tram ride. So not
A
far.
12-minute tram ride.
Yeah, door to door.
Wow.
Really lazy. You just walk out the front and then you get off the tram and you walk straight into like.
How many times have you taken the tram? I don't think much. You're a walker.
Well, this week it was pretty terrible weather, and
Oh,
I just was
then you
doing
have
stuff
to.
every night. So I was just like, when you're catching up with people, I was just like, meeting new people and everything. And then I was just like, you're sleeping because you get home late. You're like, I'm just gonna sleep in. So then it's like 7:30. I'm like, you start at 8. You better get up. So I had a quick shower, deodorant, quickly got on my clothes and just like left with 15 minutes to go, and then just arrive at work right on 8. I was just like,
Oh my gosh.
the luxury of trams being consistent. And
How different it is. How's your experience like being from living in Frankston to here now? Like, do you find it to be completely different? Because
It's
everything's
really-
within your reach?
It's really different, like just being able to go into the city, and then also just after work, it's like there's so many more shops, there's so many more like food places. I know, I just kind of feel you kind of have that's a little bit of a problem because you've got so many options and places to go and to eat. It's like this week I was meant to like cook like 3 meals and whatnot, and I only ended up cooking 2 of them, so I still got another one, which is really rare. Where normally Friday is my day where I go, no, eat out, it's the weekend.
Yeah.
I'm really thinking.
You do actually.
This week it was kind of being a bit naughty. Like I went out for cocktails.
Oh, James.
I went out for the beers, like craft beers, and like living the real city life, and then just having snacks, I guess, and going halves with someone. So it wasn't too much money.
But that's, you have
Yeah,
to have a
just
bit
the
of both
city life,
worlds.
yeah. And then it's like the convenience of having all that stuff close by, even on rainy days. It's like not far. Yeah.
Especially on a rainy day.
Yeah.
Like this week has just been, it's
Yeah.
perfect, like resting weather,
It
isn't
has
it?
been, yeah.
And it's all sunshine and rainbows apparently next week.
Yeah.
So
It's in preparation.
it's all preparation.
Sending.
I wonder what the
vibes.
temperature is next
Have
Saturday.
you should
That's
check.
something I don't know. But yeah, we'll check it.
Yeah, check it. So do you want to introduce the topic for this week?
Yes. So it's whether you can choose one or the other, but if you want to continue in like a trade where you're stable, you're earning good income, not happy, but does that produce happiness because you're stable? Or actually go for your dreams and live the bare minimum life.
Interesting.
You know?
I've read a really good book and I want to recommend it to everyone on our podcast. If you really want an awesome, like high energy, high impact book, I recommend Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. It's absolutely amazing. He's an awesome person.
All right.
Yes, and he also has his own podcast.
Does he?
I haven't listened to it. Apparently, this is what I've been told. My friend told me this, and I don't know whether my friend was being truthful because he kept on the whole day because I said I don't understand sarcasm a lot. Like a lot of the time I take people's truths. I take everything as truth. I'm a bit gullible. So like sometimes someone will tell me something which is a complete lie and I haven't picked up on the sarcasm, and then I'll be like, oh, so-and-so is did some NASA training, and they're like, no, he didn't do any NASA training. It was a bloody joke. And I was like, oh, okay. Why say it?
Some people say the truth and then say it's sarcasm as well. They do the flipsy.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, well, now I don't know what you mean.
Yeah. The
I don't think
flip,
you're gullible though.
Take.
I think people just
but
are obviously sarcastic or they're subtly, and I'm just like, I don't know which one's what.
Yeah, I don't know what's truth or what's not true.
Yeah.
Green Lights is what it's called, and really interesting. Didn't know much about him. Learned a lot about him. I've still got an hour and 2 minutes left, but really high energy, and I really like how
he's always
writes.
been like that, isn't it?
And he's very much like, the reason I'm touching on that, coming back to the theme, is that he's obviously was living his life and doing a lot of the things, trying to find his way and whatnot, and then obviously went into acting, and very instinctual, like that line, all right, was basically just came to him in the scene of him,
just being him. It sounds like him, isn't it?
Yeah. And which became iconic. And then I guess in terms of the theme though, I would say that his advice was very much, obviously you want something stable in some aspects, but also you don't if you, like, nothing's permanent here. So I guess, I don't know, it's a fine balance though, because you can't just, well, he would beg to differ because he kind of just went and did his own thing, but he really pursued it, if that makes sense.
You have to go hard or go home.
Like, he was doing his film degree, and then he was told by his dean that he was going to fail if he didn't, because he kept on leaving classes to go do auditions and everything. He's like, well, at the end of the day, like, what am I going to learn in there? Like, the work's out in the real world.
It's kind of like fractions.
Yeah,
Great.
It's just like, what am I learning in here? And he's just basically said, I just want C's. And he ended up getting just C's. And the guy's like, can I just be here on test days? Like when we're doing tests. And he's like, okay. Because they were saying that, it's mandatory that you're here all the time. It was very, very, very interesting. I think what you've got to do is you've got to have some stability. Like, you've got to prepare. Like, you're not going to be ready for something. Like, another thing is that he landed a part on a set where he was playing a gangster, and then he realized just before it that, oh shit, it's all in Spanish and it's a 11-page monologue, and give me 15, and then he just went for it, and it's known as one of the worst scenes in movies.
At least he gave it a shot. He didn't run away from fear. I think that's the takeaway.
And he also did a Saturday Night Live where he redid it, like, I think to be funny.
That's so good
in the moment. But I know it was very, very interesting hearing about his journey, obviously, and what works for him and all that kind of thing. I think at the end of the day, you know what's right for you. I'm not going to tell someone to just, like, go be homeless. And pursue your career. I don't think that's
you have a dream
advice.
and you're giving up? What's wrong with you? No, 100% no.
But, like, I think it's that fine balance between, being practical and being thing. It was also interesting because he ends up on the couch of one of his directors, and his director friend's like, don't be needy, don't be that needy actor, because he's looking for work again. And he's like, no one will, no agent will take you when you're needy like this. Go and have a holiday and go enjoy yourself, and then when there's work, come back. So he went on this holiday and went motorcycle riding around Europe, didn't have a lot of money, but had an awesome time. Then he came back and it all kind of just worked out like, planned. And I think sometimes you can get so stressed that like, oh my God, I need to find something, I need to find it now. And yes, I'm not going to lie, because it could have been terrible for him if he hadn't have landed anything when he came back, etc. Because that happens to some people. But I think the needing it, like what the guy was saying, is that when you really, really need something, the universe isn't going to provide.
No, I think it does provide, but it's
because you're desperate for it. That's what I mean by needy. When you really need something, the universe doesn't provide it because you're really, really needy. Where I think if you're a bit more, what's the word? You know what you need, but you're not desperate for it.
I think at the end of the day, if it's necessary for you, the universe will provide.
Yeah.
And it's either getting out of hand with your head. It's kind of like the balance of things, yeah?
Yeah, red lights, green lights. That's what he kind of talks about.
I remember how he described how he met his girl in an interview. I'll never forget it. And he was just like, I've been with many people, but as soon as she walked in, and he was like in a social setting in a bar, she goes, there was something about her, and he was just drawn to her.
Yeah.
And then he went up to her, and then they just took things like, back at home to the house, but nothing happened, but he was just watching her. And it was basically like he was actually in the room and he was watching her, and he was like, shit, like I know these people like in the house, like he was with his mates. And she was just working the room, just doing her thing. And then he was just like, it takes a lot of balls for her to do something like that. Normally a girl would just go, but she stayed, made breakfast for everyone. And then he was just looking at the little things. He's very he's kind of just, it's kind of like if Jim Carrey was to do a podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You can't, the biggest thing is like, don't take anything like as too much of this way, because everything needs everything. It's like, don't be too much of a person who believes in fate, because if you believe in fate too much, he's like, you
won't get anything.
Because fate and luck, it's like, it's all this kind of thing.
It's the balance.
Like if you believe in luck, you believe in God. It's like a balance of everything. And I kind of believe that there's times when you need to fight for stuff, and times when you need to actually, take a step back, calm down, find your inner peace. Like moments of extroversion, moments of introversion, like where you really need to find something and listen to your subconscious.
I think with this topic, you have to have a balance of both, yeah? But it depends as well how courageous you want to be. Like, deep down when you have to go for something.
Yeah, and I also know...
You don't need anyone to tell you.
I also think there's sometimes, though, where the universe is saying to you, actually, everything's not going your way. It's actually
listen. And it becomes like a ripple effect.
Yeah.
It's something
like,
you trip over.
Moment, we want you to really, nothing's going your way at the moment, because we want you to really go inside. Yeah,
and it's kind of just like, if you don't get the message, you get just a rock thrown at your head, then a brick, and then you get a wall, and it just keeps going and going until you get the point.
Yeah.
But I think deep down, each person knows when they fail.
Yeah.
You're in the moment.
But failure is one of those things.
And it's okay to fail, but at the same time, it's kind of just like when you should go, this is the moment actually. Kind of like an Eminem moment, yeah?
But is a failure let's talk about the fact that he blew that line in that movie, and then he had a little bit of struggle.
Yeah, but he knew though. But he knew he was going to. He just did it anyway, and you're just like, okay. He just was just
he learnt from that lesson. You need to prepare.
Yeah, you need to prepare, but he kept going though. That was the major part of that. He just kept going.
I think that's the main thing of everything.
He was just like, shit, okay, now I've stuffed up because I didn't look into this thoroughly.
Yeah. It's like, I'm an actor, I can do this.
Yeah. But it's kind of, and then you get people that, it's like two extremes. And it's kind of just like, if you really go for your dreams and you're kind of like on the street and you're just like, I'm going to make it, and you get those people. And they do make it, but it's kind of just like, at the same time, your path. If you think you need to be on that street, busking or whatever, then you bloody well do it. Who the hell has a right to tell you anything else? But if you want to be stable and, oh, I really like this, girl, but I'll end up, I'll just go with the one that's, the easy, it's just down the street, the steady. When you should be fighting, like people don't have the balls to fight sometimes. But then like each person's, but then maybe that person was meant for you, the one that's down the street. I don't know, but only you would know. It's kind of like like every podcast that we do. It's the balance. Bit of this, bit of that. You know which way to sway.
Yeah.
So one person like to another will be like, oh my God, that was a bad move. But no, that other person knows
also,
what's good.
Sometimes it's like what seems like an end of a road or an end of a journey turns out to be...
Oh, look, there's a window.
Yeah.
It's like that saying.
Sometimes it's not even the things you expect you're going to do. Like, I remember hearing one of an artist being like, I never did art, I was never good at it, whatnot. Got into like her year of, university and whatnot. And then one of her teachers was like, one of her therapists was like, why don't you do art? And then she got all into art, and then she was just like, it was like a discovery, it was like something new again. And she's like, also it was a time where I was just like, you don't need a teacher to tell you what to do, like everything sits inside of you, and it's just an expression.
You get guided.
Yeah,
of course, but it's kind of just like that idea of, I'll listen to what you have to say, but at the end of the day, it ties into like our past podcast that we did last week. Yeah. I'm not going to just let me process it and make up, but a lot of people don't like that, isn't it?
It's like it's like you have a recipe, right? Look, you go in the cooking class, you have a recipe, and everyone's going to do the recipe, right? That's great. But also at the same time, it's like everyone's meal is going to be different. Like some people overcook. But
if you want to not read it and just go with the flow, you might create something entirely different. Yeah, and it could be worse. It could be, but you have to make yourself available for that moment, isn't it? It's having the balls just to even do that. A lot of people don't like to deviate. No, it has to be like this, this, and this, kind of like tradition. Yeah. And if that's the way that you want to go through life, that's okay as well. I think another thing, don't impose on others. I think that's a important takeaway. His mother told him to take the poem and sign his name to it. Plagiarism, Matthew McConaughey's mother. So he didn't and he won the poetry competition, which was someone else's way. I remember when he won that Oscar. Was it the Oscar? And he gave that thundering speech, and we were just like, whoa. And he was all full of like, you have a dream, go get it, period, sort of a moment. Kind of like that Will Smith movie, Pursuit of Happiness. You have a dream, go get it, period. Because we'll never be here again. Like this moment, we do this every week. Each week is different, yeah? This life goes so fast. He wanted to build a tree house, so he stole timber from the timber yard, stored it in the forest every night, and then built his tree house. He made it happen. Yeah, and he then started a movie where the boat ends up in the tree mud. He was saying the similarities between both of those projects, like one where you never know, isn't it? Yeah. What like one thing is going to spark your like life later in life, where you're like, oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, so I would say don't steal possibly, but at the same time, he did it. Blame Matthew McConaughey. Send the fine to him. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know, I think do what, at the end of the day, what's right and what's wrong? What is right and what's wrong? I think if you're doing something drastically wrong. Yeah, you didn't think it was wrong stealing. Yeah. If you're going to watch... Exactly. Something happened if you're stealing wood from a church. Yeah. No, but if you feel like it's a very fine line. Each person's definition of what's right and what's wrong is completely... Yeah. There's one extreme and then there's something else. Well, he never got caught, so I think that's the... Until he wrote his book.
Yeah, he just told everyone what he did.
You knock, knock, who's
A lot
there?
of the time I
It
was
a
just
cop.
like, how the hell did any of this happen? And then he also was a exchange student in Australia.
It's kind of like that Brian what's his name from Breaking Bad? That old, Brian? Is it Brian? And how he comes up, whenever he goes on a talk show, he comes up with these random stories and they're just like, how do you come up with these? Like, they're just bizarre. And he's just like, I've had a lot of experience.
Yeah.
I went for it. I think he said that once on Jimmy. Jimmy Fallon was just like, how do you have all these stories? He's just like, look, I just put myself out there. It was this, that he saw someone die or something like that. Like, and he got, like, the cops went and, like, interviewed him and he's like, I don't know what, but it just happened.
Yeah.
He just remembers them. And then you get people that don't remember them and just continue their day.
I think though, like, one of the biggest things is that what I took away from it is like, if you're not invested in like all the nitty gritty and like,
yeah, if you're not 100% in, then what's the point?
Yeah, it's like a lot of people, it's just like, oh, I'm just coast, like.
I could have been at home today, right?
Yeah.
It was my week off. I had no point coming to South Melbourne, but I'm like, no, we're recording on YouTube. We have to be consistent.
Yeah.
If we're going to do this, we're going to do it properly and
also,
give it our all.
Yeah, and also, like, the biggest thing about it is that, like, you've got to, like, that's what you got to do. You got to show up.
Yeah.
And you've got to, I don't know, find the magic in stuff.
Yeah.
I think, like, so often in our society, it's like you
I
can
have the
get
talent.
stuck in the, yeah, I've
Don't
got the
worry,
talent.
I'll do it eventually.
And also the magic of, like, actually chasing down things and opportunities and doing it and putting yourself out there and being like, yeah, hell yeah, let's do this.
100%.
I want to do this. And also getting the ideas of being like, I want to do this, I want to do that. You know, you're going to fail sometimes.
It's kind of like the Michael Jackson theory where he was just like, there were groups 10 times better than me, but because we were consistent, we'd wake up early in the morning to practice. The neighbors next door used to make fun of the Jackson 5 and throw rocks and stuff, and the father and the brothers were like, no, this is the aim, this is the aim, this is the aim. And look what he did with it. He showed up.
Yeah.
And then you get people that show up and don't get anywhere. I don't know, that's kind of like luck. You can have all the talent in the world and try as well, and still there's no luck on your side. That's fate. I mean, what do you do?
Yeah, luck plays into it too.
Yeah, but
Right
it's the
place,
whole balance.
Right time.
Yeah.
Right place, right time, luck.
It's kind of like Sean Connery, how he was a pharmacist, and they were looking for cast members for like James Bond, and the cast director was like, oh shit, he's perfect. So they gave him a toupee because he doesn't have hair, and away he went. Like, what the hell? You get stories like that. You just, when opportunity comes knocking, you have to grab it with both hands or just watch it go by.
Definitely. I think when someone is offering you something, I think it's good to
take it on board. Up to you if you want to take it or leave it.
I think what's the word? You never know what's going to turn around the corner.
You literally have no idea.
You never know if that person's actually going to be your friend years later or they're not.
This podcast is almost a year.
Yeah.
In 2 episodes more. This is episode 50.
And how the hell would we have ever come up with that? Like, I would have never.
No, I didn't think this would have been going for at least 1 week.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't think. And then when we had so many viewers on the first episode, I'm like, oh shit, now I have to really look into this as to how to get it done.
Yeah.
And we're still doing it.
Still just making this podcast and talking about.
And it was just a 10-minute conversation that you just were just like, just come over, let's play with the mic.
Yeah. It was.
You would have thought.
I think that is the essence of it all, is the playing. You can be stable, but if you're not playing, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah. It's either, you can do one thing and then months will go by and you're just invested.
I don't care if it's just a thing you do for an hour of the day for yourself. When you know what there's something.
Yeah, a lot of people, the thing with people is that, and that's nothing wrong, they get caught up in family life and that's okay. And they get caught up in the 9-to-5 job and that's okay. But then afterwards when they feel like...
And then they say, I don't have time. It's you got plenty of time right now.
You can. If you really wanted something, you'd go get it, period. 100%.
It's you get in that car and you go, he actually loves driving. I actually really reckon you'll love the book. He talks
How many
about
pages is
and
this?
Stuff. 300.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, he seems like a very chill...
And he goes
with
driving
his mind.
all the time. And I was like,
Gathers his
he
thoughts.
talks about that.
That's
He's
how
driving.
this drive here was like peak hour, but I was like loving
He
it.
would pick up the casting director or the director of the next movie, and he would pick him up from the airport. He'd drive him all across the state to the next place and drop him off. That would be where he had his meetings, was in the car. It's like, oh yeah, let's have a meeting in my car.
That sounds like me. That sounds exactly like me.
I can imagine you being like a boss of like the bank and just being like, we're going on the right.
You want the job? Why? Get in the back, not next to me. Oh my God. But yeah, it's kind of like me going all the way from where I lived, Carrum Downs, to Bundoora. It's a fair distance just to go to uni, and I did that for years. People like, didn't it? Sometimes it did when I needed to get an assignment done, don't get me wrong. But 99% of the time, the drive actually calmed me down when I had an exam or...
Yeah. You got to get from A to B.
You got to find your thing, yeah? And just go for it, whether it makes any sense to anyone.
At the same time, don't be afraid to try things. If you haven't worked out what your thing is, it could be the thing that you don't, you're resisting.
That scares you.
You're resisting to try it, but then you try it and you're like, oh. And everyone's like, oh, you're really good at this.
Yeah, you just don't know.
I am actually good at that, like, because often sometimes
don't limit yourself.
Often sometimes the first attempt you did at something, you were trying too hard. The Edison sort of a thing, where he was just like, I'm going to find how to do the light bulb, and he just kept going, fail, and he eventually did it, but he didn't give up. He was stable.
People
and
give up.
They're
just like, oh no, I gave it a shot.
I'm going to be consistent in failing, and then I'll run out of ways.
Yeah.
Of failing. And
only you know when the time is up. No one has a right to tell you. It's kind of like if you go on American Idol or Australian Idol and you think they turn you down. If you have like that inkling in you that you can do it, then just freaking go for it.
Just keep going.
Just keep going. You'll find a way. If it's not there, it'll be somewhere else. That's your passion.
And if not, like, just start doing it yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need, like, if
you don't need the main stage. If you want just the corner of just outside the bottle-o, and if you want to busk and that makes you happy, just do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
You'll just you'll find your way.
Yeah, you'll find your way. All those people, famous people, Ed Sheeran, all of them, I doubt they would have guessed what they have accomplished.
I think a
sold
lot of them
out
would have
stadiums.
Just been like, really, this song?
Yeah, they were just like in the moment doing their things.
I've created this song. Yeah.
And you ask any artist, it's never the hits. Even like I remember Freddie Mercury was just like, yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody, yeah. But I think like lyric wise, like Somebody to Love is better, and I think I can write better than Bohemian Rhapsody. But when we look back, like that's the main, he's piece de resistance sort of a thing. And you name so any random. Artist, it's some random song on the last abstract, song of some album, and you're just like, why? And it's like, it took me back. It's never the hits. Any artist, I doubt one, like Billie Jean by Michael Jackson, not his favorite. It was some random song from one Invincible or something, that album that no one listens to. Like, name anyone. It's just insane how it works. Probably Taylor Swift as well, yeah? There'll be some random song and you just be like, why though?
I think it's Shake It Up.
Oh, does she like that?
No, like in terms
that's a
of
good
like
song.
a hit. Like that's a hit.
Yeah.
And it's a very, I don't know, but it's also speaking a lot of her thing, but it's just...
It was the moment when everyone's attacking her, remember her? When it was the media, everyone was attacking her, and she came out with that, and we're just like, there we go, there she is.
Yeah, and just 3 words.
Yeah. So simple. It's just interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, go for your goals. At the same time, be realistic, but at the same time, you know the way to go in life.
Look, if there's something that's telling you, quit your day job and do everything, I would say maybe a wave of caution, but also at the same time, if you're willing to go through the struggle and you're willing to go through the process
to show
of whatever it is, then do it.
Yeah.
But it ain't easy. I think like a lot of people think.
But that's where the balls comes in and the courage, yeah?
Like,
it's either you go hard or go home, or, okay, I gave it a shot. It's kind of like, I don't have to stop Like, I can go hard.
I think you've got to be a very optimistic person who's
Yeah.
able to deal in those situations.
Otherwise, if you get like that negative feedback, oh shit, no, I can't do it, and then bugger off. But it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to do this for 2 years or 1 year. I'm just going to go with the flow and see how it goes. And it's okay if you didn't make it. Then just go back to your 9 to 5. Like, find a 9 to 5. There's always options in life. It's not this is the end sort of a moment. There's always options.
And yeah, you can just go to another job.
You find another one, and then you find another one. And it's kind of like, I don't know.
Just keep finding them.
Yeah. But if you want to be consistent in the moment, you know which way to go.
You know what though, at the same time, it's just like, you've got to try things before you know what you like.
Yeah.
I think that's what people are so afraid of these days. It's like, well, this is all right. Like,
Yeah, and then they don't encourage other people when they're actually trying, and you're like...
I feel like, what's the word? You get in your comfort zone sometimes.
Yeah,
and
you do. And that's hard to get out of, that rut.
Because you're like, I'm comfortable. I've got a good wage. I have pizza every Friday night. I watch my favorite show.
It's stable.
It's stable. It's steady and all that kind of stuff. But then it's just like...
That inkling inside of you.
I think it's something definitely inside you in your brain, and you're just gonna be like, shit, was this it?
Yeah, you don't want to project that onto others too. I agree.
Yeah.
Good chat, James.
Oh, brilliant chat, Jess.
Watch us on YouTube, alright?
Yeah. Peace out.
Comment, like, subscribe. Bye.
Bye.